Alright guys, back with another video, and this time we're going to be doing something a little different. I've been trying to do this video a few times now. I went through 4 or 5 takes, and I realized the error that I was making when I tried to make this video. I tried to use several different browser windows and just code the Pokemon themselves when I went over them. But that wouldn't work. Every time I would try to change the browser window, it would cause my video to just stop. So we're just going to do a different way here. So this is a top 10 underused Pokemon, and this may be based off ranking, or it's mainly based off the fact how many times do I ever see these Pokemon, based off I think their usability in relation to why I feel like I should see them more, but I don't. Now, we're not going to be discussing Pokemon that you obviously will see. These top 10 Pokemon you will see a lot, or at least see some of them a lot. But we'll scroll down just a little farther down, and I really feel like this is where we start. Now, Virizion is a newer Pokemon that has started being used a little bit because it's become more available to the public. There was two different raid times for it, and more people have access to it now. But Virizion is very good at spamming Leaf Blades and Close Combats, which are two of the best moves in the game, in my opinion. And you see these matchups here. Destroys Swampert, destroys Poliwrath, destroys Steelix, and even can handle Venusaur, surprisingly, even with the resisted charge moves, and Snorlax as well because of Close Combat. This Pokemon obviously is weak to Charmers and Confusion users, but even then, it's still those Pokemon, if you line them up correctly, like Virizion with a Pokemon that is not one of those, basically any of the Steel or Normal, or especially with Obstagoon out now, and Swampert, etc. Virizion is underused, in my opinion, based off what it is ranked at 16th. Now, the next one I want to talk about is Hariyama. So, Hariyama in testing has been fantastic for me as long as I line it up with anything that is basically going to take a lot of damage from a close combat. Now, what I'd like to do with it is have it in the back, waiting for Obstagoons, and especially with Obstagoon being more relevant now, he literally shreds through Obstagoon. But as you can see here, it does lose Hardcore to Togekiss, Clefable, and Shadow Gardevoir and Giratina Origin, because the only way you can potentially do anything to the fairy types is to have a shield, have basically them no shields. And yeah, because Heavy Slam is an option for a Steel move. But as you can see, it handles Alolan very well, Registeel very well, Poliwrath even, and Snorlax and Swampert very well. Not saying he's perfect against those Pokemon, but he does win the matchups. And he's actually number 1 on consistency, which he has everything at 100. For basically the first 60 or so slots is 100 consistency, but he's at number 1 if you didn't know. I think he's a very underrated Pokemon, and I feel like more people should use him, especially when he's kind of bulky, and he's really good at closing, as you can see as well. And scroll on down. Now, the next Pokemon we're going to talk about is Sceptile. Sceptile is a very good charging Pokemon with Bullet Seed now, and Leaf Blade spam and Earthquake. Can handle a lot of those meta Pokemon. It's funny because this is like very similar matchups as you saw for Hariyama as well. If you can see that one Leaf Blade landed on Swampert is game over. Basically, one Earthquake on a Muk is game over. Basically, you need to bait a little bit with Registeel. Make sure that Earthquake just landed in a Leaf Blade, but you can handle Registeel as well. And any water type or any steel type really does get handled by Earthquake. Sceptile using Earthquake is very powerful, and you might even see one with Dragon Claw to help you combat against those Giratinas. But usually you're going to see Earthquake because it's just a more relevant move for the steel types, and basically any Pokemon can get hit by Earthquake and be pretty damaging. But yeah, as you can see, it has a 95.1 consistency, and I think that's where it starts to fall off, is the consistency, and it doesn't have the highest attack stat, but it is a very spammy Pokemon with Leaf Blade. Even against Togekiss, which is a flying type, you can mow most of its health down by just spamming those Bullet Seed Leaf Blades, even though it's resisted. So we're going to the next Pokemon. So now we've done 1, 2, And we've done 3 total now. Now, let's go down. The next target, number 4, Typhlosion. Now, Typhlosion is a very powerful Pokemon, spamming with Shadow Claw and Blast Burn mainly. And you need that Legacy move Blast Burn, or it makes your Pokemon a lot more basically useless because it doesn't have any other really good charge moves. Solar Beam was there for those niche situations where you do need it against a water type and you have an energy advantage, but that's about it. As you can see, it handles those meta Pokemon like Articuno and Registeel. Even handles Charizard because Shadow Claw Blast Burn is better than Fire Spin Blast Burn in a fire matchup. And you know that Clefable is pretty much going to take a couple Shadow Claws and a Blast Burn and it's over. But as you come down, you can see that there's not too many of these Pokemon being used for the top counters, but this is not going to show everything. But Typhlosion is a very good Pokemon. If you don't have one ready, you can always try it out yourself. So, let's come on down. So the next Pokemon I want to discuss that I feel like I rarely ever see. Come on down. Zangoose. Now, Zangoose is a very powerful Pokemon, and Caleb Pink has made a video about this Pokemon before, and it's at our 5th slot here. Zangoose is a Giratina Slaughterer. It handles a lot of Pokemon with that close combat. Bait with the Night Slash to get the boost. It is a very powerful Pokemon, and if you line it up against any Psychic type or any Ghost type, it really handles it really well. Where it does struggle is whenever people do resist its moves, and it is very squishy, so you have to be careful with that and you save your shields for it. But I feel like the main reason why this is not used as much is because it's very hard to get a hold of, especially a Hundo, which you need for the Ultra League. And it is just a pretty hard Pokemon to get candy for as well. So if you do have a Hundo and you do have the rare candy or candy in general to max it out and basically give it a secondary charge move, go for it. But most of us don't. So that might be one of the main reasons why you don't see Zangoose. And we're going to keep on going down. This is based off usability in my eyes and I feel like I should see it more often than I do. And a lot of these Pokemon you're going to see here, you're not going to see them that often, but this is based off the usability. Now, Stunfisk, you probably saw my video with it. I do feel like this is an honorary mention because I already did the first 5, but I do want to discuss this a little more because I do think it is extremely underrated. Mudshot is the spammiest move in the game, along with Rock Slide, the best energy efficient move, and Earthquake, which will get stabbed. This Pokemon is very underrated, resists those fairy types, hits really hard with Earthquake. Not extremely hard, but hard enough where it will do quite a bit of chunk out of most Pokemon. And Rock Slide against those flyers like Articuno. And it obviously can one-shot a Charizard. And that's a popular Pokemon currently. I feel like this Pokemon is not seeing a lot of play, mainly because you need a Hundo maxed out. But if you do happen to get a Hundo, max it out. Best Buddy is a very good Pokemon. I'm going to try to Best Buddy mine eventually, but because I use it so much, I do believe this is a very underrated Pokemon. We're going to have a few more of these underrated Pokemon. Steelix, very similar to the Stunfisk. Steelix is a very, very good Pokemon, and it is basically anti-meta. It destroys the top 4 Pokemon are in the very top class of the Pokemon you'll see in the meta. Dragon Tail and Crunch handles Giratina Altered. Crunch just really does good against Cresselia. And Earthquake is just going to one-shot a Muck. But you may need to bait, but probably be able to survive quite a bit of Muck's moves because he doesn't really do anything to it. But as you can see, it's not the most consistent Pokemon. It doesn't charge very fast, but it is a tank. You can max it out. And I think that's one of the reasons why you have to max it out and get a Hundo for you to use it. So that might be one of the reasons why you don't see too many Steelixes. Let's keep on going down. Now, some of these Pokemon you might feel are underrated, but Poliana, I've seen a few of those. This is mainly a Pokemon that I don't see enough for me to think, like, I don't understand why I'm not seeing more of them whenever they're just good Pokemon. Let's see. But once you scroll down a little bit too far, I don't think there's too many Pokemon here that are worth using in the Ultra League because they're not the best Pokemon. Ampharos is decent. It's probably an underrated Pokemon that I rarely see, but I've seen a few every now and then. But it's like maybe once every blue moon, so that's one to talk about. Scrafty's underrated, and mainly because it's just not the best Pokemon to switch into with all these fighters and charmers. So that's pretty rough. Pretty decent Pokemon though. I wish I had a Hundo maxed out for the Ultra League. It'd be fun. That's pretty much it. When you scroll down, you can just come through and you look. And this is gonna be an underrated Pokemon soon. Might see some more play. Gengar will be a new contender whenever he gets the new Community Day move with a Shadow Ball and Shadow Punch as its bait move. But yeah, Gengar is pretty strong. I have lost to one before. I do believe it will have a better place in the meta eventually. But thank you guys for watching once again, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like this type of video, please tell me what you think is an underrated Pokemon, and we'll see you guys in the next video.